Hello everyone, this is Oscar, and today I want to read out loud the 24th blog post in the One Glance article series covering frequently asked questions. Now that we have covered the 5 stages of adopting One Glance to day-to-day experience, it's encouraged to raise many different questions. Therefore, this article this video episode, but most of the article actually, is a work in progress that will be continuously filled with all the questions you have that are generalizable and applicable for One Glance. And you submit questions via the form that I link in the show notes and description. And if they are generalizable and applicable enough for many people and are related to One Glance, I will update part 24 in order to fit in your question. In the meantime, here are all the current questions you have asked in random order for now, but will be systematized later in the document. First one, what if I fail at this? What if One Glance is too difficult for me? Based on existing literature, modern science, and 2 years of self-experimentation, One Glance aimed to be the easiest system to gain the maximum output. 5 stages that build upon each other, making it easy to adopt gradually. In other words, One Glance could be the most productive system since like the least amount of input get the most amount of output, you can say. But I expect One Glance to be continually refined over time since we all progress in this world. So therefore, if you fail, you should celebrate it instead of berating yourself. I know it's very counterintuitive, but yeah, you have to do what's best. Because failures are critical lessons and feedback that are necessary for future development and growth. It's also when you're at your worst self that One Glance truly shines, since it's customized for our brain dead selves rather than our brain alive selves, if we can use this terminology. As long as at least one of the routines is still there, because then you can like dial back from stage 4 to stage 3 to stage 2, stage 1, and then come back again to stage 4. Exactly. So what do you need to do if you think you quote unquote fail is a little debrief by asking the following questions. 1, what exactly happened? So reimagine it in detail and in order to get the feeling on what actually occurred. Second, what can I do to prevent it from ever happening again? So then you can be a little bit creative and you can of course like try and see what works and what does not. And third, how can I make my solution so fast and so easy that I'm not even aware of it and have to decide anything? These 3 are the questions that I personally use whenever I encounter quote unquote failure or mistake and stuff like that. And I found it to be very helpful. It's kind of based on stoicism. And you will eventually too find solutions and adaptations if you answer these generalizable questions. Ultimately, the simplest, fastest, and easiest way is the correct one. And you can always write in the comments if you have any specific situation to tell. And I look forward to helping you. Next question. What if I need way more time in order to do my daily updates? There are 3 things to keep in mind. First, not all of your input is created equal. Only a few are vital for you, which is signal, while the rest, noise, can be postponed, delegated, or dropped. According to the book Anti-Fragile and Signal to Noise ratio in general, more input generates more noise than signal. So the signal is the same, but the noise is amplified. Therefore, the more input you get, the more you can postpone, delegate, or drop. just ignore most of what you have captured and only focus on the most important. And with this mindset, with this more selective and hesitant mindset, you can say, you will benefit from more input because you can be more strategic. You can batch, you can gain economy of scale. You can see like, okay, these one are not really relevant right now, so let's drop that one. And okay, this one might still be cool, but this related could be done as well. So you will gain more strategic perspective, which is the goal here. So this is actually why you should only do a daily update once daily, because then everything is not as urgent and important all the time. You will gain some good perspective. So that was the first thing you have to keep in mind. The second thing is that the buffer document is your friend. Even if you're bombarded with 1,000 emails and notifications a day, which is not really uncommon actually in today's society, as you know, you're still left with 8 working hours a day, usually, or at least some working hours. In the end, we have 24 hours and we have to manage it properly. It means that you're already constrained and have to prioritize anyway. In this case, you have to postpone, delegate, or drop more and focus only on the core tasks and projects. You postpone things by putting them into the buffer document. So in other words, if you feel like you're really like overwhelmed and everything is like dragging on you at the same time, just put them in the buffer document and let them cool off a little bit so you can catch up, prioritize and execute one thing at a time, and then eventually come back at them. And you can also delegate them if you have the opportunity to do that, or just drop. So that was the second thing. The third thing is the process of inputting tasks and projects. It's actually a new skill, a new move. Therefore, be patient with yourself and know that you will be way faster over time, because you're in a leverage gap now. You're in a situation in which it's a little bit slower, but it will be eventually much faster, just as it is with any kind of new endeavor or workout, stuff like that. It is harder first, but it will gain snowball traction over time. So as long as you have enough accountability, enough consistency, and enough patience, you will improve a lot. Next question. What if I receive input that cannot wait until my daily update? And I call them urgent entries. And these are extremely common. You mark these urgent entries specifically. And in my case, when I'm writing down a so-called urgent entry, I note down it as a vertical line first, and then the actual entry. But you can do what's best for you. Then, after each exit, each transition and calendar check, you deal with these urgent entries. So you have still the habit of checking your notebook, see that, okay, if there are any urgent entries, okay, deal with them and the rest can wait. Then you can gain total peace of mind, since you won't feel like, okay, this is going to be dropped and I have to do this in a couple of hours or so. So that's a very hot tip that I truly recommend. Next question. What does one glance say about intuition? And intuition can also be called gut feeling, or the spirit, or the still small voice in your head. Many words for it. Because sometimes you might feel that a certain action is the right thing to do, rather than what you initially planned. And it's very important to separate intuition from impulse, because impulse is kind of like the same way. It feels like, oh, I must do this right now. But intuition is more like longer sense, and not really bound to any kind of bells and whistles and blinking stimuli and stuff like that. So you should wait at least 15 minutes. If the feeling is gone, then it was an impulse. But if it's still there and you feel like you have a very strong motivation to switch, then switch. You should update your plan. And as mentioned in part 2 of this series, the calendar is not a prescriptive list. It's not a tyrant. It's not something that you have to like strictly adhere to, just like it would be in other kinds of situations in the work life. But it's more of a descriptive list. Think of it as a servant, personal assistant, just something, a little reminder. And you, my friend, have the ultimate power to decide and think again. Next question. What if I already have goals? Should I ignore them until stage 5? And the short answer is no, because I know that many of you still feel like something could be better, something could be reached for, whether in career or just have a better body, better health, better skills, just in general. And if you have a strong, compelling one that is like tugging you all along and clear goals already, you have the permission to take stage 5 together with stage 1. But be mindful that you will not be your best self yet, and have some patience for the execution. So you can just do the documents, but don't feel like you have to really get down to the nitty-gritty details, because when you reach stage 3, you can revisit your goals since you have learned to sort tasks and projects. So if you have a very strong vision, you can do stage 1 and 5 together, and then do 2, 3, and lastly 4. Stage 4, I recommend that you should wait until you get the daily update ready, unless you want a flood of all inputs that are very common, especially if you're doing GTD first. So, but you can do stage 5 in the beginning if you feel like you're compelled to do it, which you should, if you want to, of course. Next question. How do I know if I'm doing it right? You're doing it right if you follow the instructions and receive the benefits outlined at part 23. The next video and episode will also describe 3 fictional lives in which one glance is incorporated. And if you watch the very first video, and at this moment the most popular one, it is the same people from my very first video and episode. So it is Tim, it is Sarah, and it's Extreme Eric. We will revisit them again. So stay tuned for that. But if you're still unsure, please feel to leave a comment or review or any other form of contact. And I'll be ready, because ultimately, in the end, I want the best system for everyone. Last question. Is this all there is? The short answer is kind of. System-wise, you can apply these principles wherever and whenever you are. However, in part 26, which will be the last article, video, and episode of the One Glance series, this is planned at least, but it can be more afterwards. But anyway, in that article, I will show you the way beyond One Glance. Before writing about it as a membership blog post, I will briefly mention the concept of total engagement. So that was all the questions for now. And if there will be more, I will update it over time. Not necessarily this video, but the article. Tomorrow, I will feature case scenarios of One Glance in real life. And with that, I want to say thank you for your attention and have a very nice day. See you next one.